measure. Right, so let me share my screen. Pretty sure you can see the right one. Thumbs up, anyone's on, you can see that? Yeah, perfect. I like to check these days. So we're going to do a couple of things here. So one's a bit of a check-in kind of thing to kind of get everybody back on track with Easter now being behind us. But what I also want to do, I think I've been asked this a couple of times this week, so I thought this would be a good one to cover about why tempo matters and also what it actually means when you're looking out for it. So I thought we'd go into that. But before we do, I just want to give shout outs and welcomes as we usually do. So Becky Deness, absolutely crushing it. A few weeks in and just already smashing it, which is exactly what we want to see. But what I also love is her language choices. It's very much like the journey to the better version of me. And even in a dip, it's still like, no, I'm on a journey. And I absolutely love her ability to kind of communicate that. I think it's really good. Mandy, now I don't actually know exactly how long Mandy's been in the program. It's probably, I reckon it's probably coming on a year, give or take, maybe slightly longer, maybe slightly shorter, but she's now officially lost 46.2 pounds, which by the way, that is no mean feat. Do you know what I mean? When you start this journey on 110 kilos or there or thereabouts, and then you drop down into the 80s, like that is a massive fucking achievement. So credit to you, Mandy, because you absolutely crushed it. So yeah, and we're not there yet. And I love again, Mandy's language is like, I am going to get to my goal. And there's no wavering in it, even in the ups, the downs that we've been through Christmas, we've been through like she's had some personal events go on in her life which have derailed her for a few weeks, understandably so, but she's never once given up on her goal, like tunnel vision on actually getting there. But also welcome to Nicola, Helen, Michelle, Emma, Charlotte, and Lauren. You probably your first Zoom in the program, so we're going to kick it off with a doozy. So Easter is over. That sounds a bit like dramatic, doesn't it? But what I want to say is, understandably, I would say the last week's check-ins have been a little bit like normally we're used to like win, 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 win. And maybe it's the odd person that has struggled. Whereas I would say Friday's check-ins with half term, loads of people have got kids off school, routines are a little bit haphazard. I'm sure all of you guys have enjoyed a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of something over the weekend, maybe alcohol, you've maybe been with family, friends, your routine has been a bit different. That is completely understandable. And it's what we say the same after Christmas. There are just certain times of the year where if you do celebrate these kind of events, that is absolutely fine. What's more important is now tunnel vision on summer. Summer is coming, and if you really want to make the most of your goals and actually get to where you want to be, you kind of got to go right. Okay, it's a fresh start now. Whether that fresh start was this morning or whether you begin tomorrow and go, this is me now. I'm really going to focus in on this. I've had a little bit of celebration, a little bit of off plan, a little bit of enjoyment, but now I'm absolutely going to smash and hammer these fucking goals out of the goddamn park because that's what we're looking for now. Straight back on it, straight, like no regrets either. We don't live with regrets in this program. That it serves no purpose. So if you feel like you had too many Easter eggs, whatever, it's done. Just get straight back to where you need to be, and you will see your goals starting to become crushed again, which is exactly what we want. And if you did have too many Easter eggs, just use it to fuel your fucking training. Do you know what I mean? I felt really strong in the gym today. I was like, boom, extra food's done me well. But what we're going to do then is really talk about tempo. So it's not super long, this one, because it's just a snap of education. It's just understanding exactly how tempo is broken down. Now, some coaches will do it as like a beat of three. I do it as a beat of four. It's not really right or wrong. Some people just don't count the top, but that's absolutely fine. But I want to teach you the way that I have been taught and how I always understand tempo. So it's essentially how fast or slow you perform each part of the lift. And it's broken down, like I say, in a series of four. That's how I know it, and that's how I want you guys to understand it. So it's almost like you are setting the speed limit for each part of the rep. So imagine you're driving a car and you're going into and out of different speeding zones. It's no different when it comes to lifting weights. So what does it actually mean? So we're going to use a squat as an example. So the first number that you see, so in this example, we're going to do a 2010 tempo. So the first number is the eccentric. I'll break that down a bit more as we go, but that's the lowering phase in a squat. So what we don't want to do is just rush right down and rush back up again. We're actually lowering on a count of two. So it's like 1, 2. Zero pause at the bottom is what that means. So when you get to the bottom, you're not actually taking a pause. You're just going to come straight back up again on a count of 1. The lowering phase is always likely to be longer than the recovery phase, coming back up again, if you like. And then the 0 at the top is there is no gap, no pause at the top. Now, the caveat to the 0 at the top, I would say, is when you are lifting heavier and you are using intra-abdominal pressure, then you might well, so for instance, if you see a lot of my lifting, you'll see it in my stories, and I'll show the examples in a moment, but I sometimes take a mini pause at the top. And the reason for that is I'm taking a big breath in, and what I'm doing is sucking in my core to help me during that lift. So it's not as important when you're new to lifting and you're using lighter weights. But if you are getting heavier with your weights, you might start to need to use that breath in at the top just to brace your core. So you will see some lifters. I do it sometimes, not very often, because I prefer to do it with breath. But you will see some lifters using a belt. That's exactly what they're doing. They're bracing their breath against that belt to give them as much core stability as they can so that they're not putting any of the load or the pressure through their back. So that's just a little bit of a side note. But always think of the tempo as lowering, bottom pause, lifting, and then the top pause. So, oh, well, God, it's going fast. Right. So this is the 2010 tempo. So I'm doing 2 down, no pause at the bottom, 1 to come up, and no pause at the top. So we'll wait for it. Hang on. So 2 down, 1, 2, 0, 1, 0. So that's an example of a very typical tempo that I would have written for you guys. Right, this is going to play really quickly, and annoyingly, the next video, I might have to keep coming back to it because it's actually a sequenced. So now we've got a 3-0. So notice how much slower I am on the way down. So that's 3 seconds, none at the bottom, 1 to come back up. And now it moves on to a completely different thing because I didn't realize. So we'll just go back to that. So 3 seconds down, 0 pause at the bottom. I touch the weight. I'm coming up for 1 second. No hold at the top. And I'm coming straight back down into a slow eccentric. So that's what that one's giving you. This is me this morning. So this is with a pause. So I'm going to go 2 seconds down. Notice my big breath. 2 seconds down. 1 second pause. 1 second up. And then I'm coming back down. 2 seconds to come down. So you can see there is a slight pause at the top. It's not a full second, but I'm just rebreathing. And if this was really heavy, I would have a longer pause at the top while I'm really taking that breath. But that's what, a couple of seconds down with a pause in the extended position. So that's where I am most under tension in that lift. So eccentric is the lowering of the weight. So when I will refer to it as the eccentric and the concentric. So if you think about an RDL, when you are lowering the weight, that is when the muscle is under the most tension. So that's the eccentric phase. Same as the good morning that I just showed on the screen. As I'm coming down, that is the eccentric phase. So that is where you are really being tested under the load, under the pressure. So this is where your muscles are lengthening. So that's another way you can look at it. The eccentric is the lengthening of the muscle. So like I say, RDL squats, they're all working in that lengthened position. So my glutes are the most lengthened when I'm coming down into a squat, when I'm doing an RDL, when I'm doing a good morning. So all three of those demonstrations I showed you, my glutes are working in the lengthened position. The concentric is lifting of the weight. So that's the exact opposite. So you are still under tension, but that's not usually, and I say usually because there are some caveats to this, but that's not usually where the muscle is actually being tested as heavily as when it is in the eccentric phase. However, the couple of examples that I can give you are, so hip extensions are, a lot of you guys don't fucking have them in your gyms. It really annoys me. I don't know why they're not in most gyms, but this is the exercise where essentially you're like, it looks like a V. And imagine, so you've got the V, I can't do it. You've got the V and then you're coming up, but your glutes are actually working when you're in the top position here. So when your bum's actually scrunched, so that would be lengthened, it's not working there. So it's actually working when you come up and your booty is clenched and under tension at the top. So that's the exact opposite. So that's actually working in the concentric where the muscle's actually shortened, but that's an example. The same as a hip thrust. A hip thrust, if you think about it, as you're thrusting up, your bum again is scrunched under. It's not actually when you're at the bottom of the lift where it's like your bum is essentially extended. That's not working anything. So you're working on the push rather than on the pull, if that makes sense. So it's just again trying to get a bit of an understanding. And what you ideally want to be looking for is really understanding that. So you go, when is the muscle actually working? And if you take your time to think about it, you will be able to get that mind muscle connection. So one of the reasons why I personally absolutely love a good morning or an RDL, I can feel that burn through my glutes so heavily that I know the exact second that that muscle is firing on all cylinders, and I'm using that muscle when I am in the lengthened position of the RDL or in the good morning. I'm tensing my glutes so hard to drive the weight back up again. I'm not in my back at all, even though like the load, like you could think, and a lot of new lifters might feel that kind of exercise in their lower back. And my lower back is engaged, by the way. You do like the entire posterior chain, which runs down your spine through your glutes, is switched on. So there is a difference between backache and muscles in your back aching from an exercise. And again, the more advanced you become, the more you can start to learn the difference between the two. But if you're doing the exercises correctly, you can squeeze those muscles to get you back up to that starting position. And that's what you really want to be thinking about, is that mind muscle connection. And I do it pretty much with every single exercise. And my coach has programmed me one this month. I fucking hate it. And the reason I hate it is because I can't feel it. And then I recorded my best friend, who's also a fitness coach, in the gym the other day while we were recording each other doing reels. And he started to do that exact exercise. And I was like, I fucking hate it. And I was like, I would never program that exercise because I can't feel it. And if I can't feel it, I know you guys are going to go, well, where should I feel this? And I'm like, I don't know. It's shit. It's not making the cut inside of my program. It doesn't work for me. And I don't think it works for many people. So to me, it's just a red flag exercise. I want you guys to be able to connect with where the muscles should actually be working and giving you that kind of knowledge. But like I say, eccentric, that is where you're resisting the pull of gravity. The muscles are lengthening. So you've got your RDLs, your squats, concentric, usually when you're lifting the weight. So you're pushing or pulling and the muscles are being shortened. So hip extensions, hip thrusters, concentric. So if you're lowering it, it's the eccentric. If you're lifting it, it's the concentric. So that's just a really quick way of trying to get your head around the two. You don't need to know this. This is more like the next level. So if coaches were talking to one another, this is the kind of language that we would use. You guys just need to focus on the exercise itself and get your head around the tempo. So, why is it important to get your head around the tempo? Well, it is helping you to control that movement. So, the worst thing in the world as a coach when you're in the gym, and I don't think you tend to see this in women. And I think the reason why is because women tend to have coaches, and we're not usually lifting from a place of ego unless you get loads of coaches in one room. Then, not gonna lie, that can definitely start to happen. But generally speaking, women in the gym are focused on the movement and getting it right. Whereas men, you'll often see like a bench press at like 50 miles an hour, and you're thinking, fucking hell, no tempo was born. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he actually slowed it down, he might actually see better gains than just trying to. And it's usually a sign that somebody can't actually lift the weight as well as they should be able to. But like I say, thankfully, we don't tend to do that. It's very much a penis driven thing, and we're not bothered about what they're doing. We're focusing on our inner game. But it creates that time under tension as well. So it's better muscle growth. So as you're going through the program, and I have written in, I'm pretty sure for every exercise I would ever program this for, but if there is a pause, I will have written that there is a pause, and in the video of me watching it, you can see the pause. So again, I'm directly giving you that information, so you're not having to go, hang on a minute. So this is a 3-0 tempo, right? That's a 2-0. Now that's a 5-0. Like, I've given you all of the clues that you need to know the information. But you are going to grow better muscles. So it's a great way to progressively overload without just having to lift more weights. So things like lat raises are really hard, especially with a lot of gyms when they might go from 2.5 kilo weights straight up to 5, straight up to 7. Like, you're talking, if you're going from 2.5 to 5, you're talking about doubling the load, a 100% increase, which is really fucking difficult to just dramatically do that. So this is where we start to add in things like your pauses so that you can actually get time under tension rather than necessarily just having to increase the load all of the time. It can make lighter weights feel harder. So again, by increasing that time under the load, it can make it feel like actually it's harder than it is without, again, having to increase the weight necessarily. It is going to stop you rushing your reps or relying on momentum. So you will see it with lat raises. This is a big one where people do use momentum, myself included, because I'm not in a gym where the weights go up in 1 kg increments. So when I'm up at 7.5, I have to swing a little bit to actually get the weights up. But now I'm like, I don't want to use fives. I'm like, I don't. But I've got pauses in my program this month, so I can't do that with 7.5. So it's just a different approach, but it is going to get you to where you need to be. And also reducing the risk of injury by building stability. So, what it's getting you to do is actually think about the movement. If you're rushing the reps and rushing the movement, your chances of injury dramatically go up. And some of the exercises where you'll notice this on are things like lunges, where you think, fuck this, I want to get it done. No one enjoys lunges, for the record. No one. It's like, and then, for instance, with a lunge, you could pause between each foot, as in you do 10 reps on your weakest side first, then 10 reps on your strongest side. You might want to pause. When you get really heavy, you'll pause. But even I did it this morning going, I'm just going to go straight into the other leg because I want it over. I want it done. So it's that kind of consideration of going, actually, slow it down. Don't risk an injury over rushing your reps. Just take it steady. And again, if you're time poor, this is another thing where you might start to rush. But if you do that, you are increasing your risk of injury. I would rather you just miss a set off. If you are on in a serious time crunch, just miss a set off and then just speed up your workout that way rather than speeding through the reps, because then you're probably not going to be achieving your goals anyway. So rushing the lowering part. So again, so the money is on the negative. So this is the part you don't want to be rushing. A lot of exercises you kind of can snap back up to the starting point, but the time under tension, the lowering phase, that's when you don't want to be rushing it. But equally, when like, so if I talk about a lat pull down, where if you're in the gym and you're bringing the bar down, a lot of people again they rush it back up, they're rushing it, and this is where the load hits the stack. And again, you'll hear this with men in the gym all the fucking time. Bang, when they've finished their set, bang. That phase where you're actually bringing it back up is also a huge amount of time where your lats are under tension, so you're missing the juicy gains by just slamming the equipment back up when you don't need to be doing that. You're less likely to do it at home. Still stand by the fact you're less likely to do it as a woman. Yet to be proven wrong on that. But yeah, not following the tempo of a program, just ignoring it. I do try and remind you in the copy, don't forget about the pauses or don't forget about quarter reps. I will try and avert your attention to that. But I know some of you guys don't read the program notes. I know for a fact you don't, because you'll ask me a question and I'm like, I've written that in the program notes. So make sure you read them because the clues are in there. Thinking tempo, slow reps only. So it's not always about the slow reps. Sometimes we actually want to be going heavy. So we might not want to be putting pauses in the wrong places. We might want to actually be getting through the reps at a decent time return. So again, look at the program notes, see what it's actually saying, have a look at the tempo, and then it will give you an idea of where you want to be. We don't always want to be going mega slow. I think. I think we've got a couple in the chat. Let me bring up my chat box. Let me bring up a chat box. This is a good time for questions. Quarter reps are the devil. Oh, where the fuck's that just gone? Hang on. I've lost you. Yeah, so yeah, they're rock hard. And like I say, they are in I got pauses and quarter reps in my program right now, and it's humbling because you're doing something like a shoulder press or an anterior delt raise where you can usually go way heavier, and the second that quarter reps in, and this is the point where you get stuck. So it's like you're coming down, you're bringing it up, you're coming down, and then you're having to go again. It's like, yeah, it's definitely very humbling. Agree, I hate them too. My program, I was like, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Rach. I really am at the minute, and I'm like, this sucks. But it's a great way to test your muscles without necessarily increasing the load. And it's good to do it. It's good to learn different practices. When doing the lat pull down, I don't seem to feel it in my side. I'll try and get a video next time I do it, but any tips on how to feel your sides working? I feel like I do have my shoulders down, but I may be doing it wrong or not going heavy enough. When I go heavy, my arms give up. So there's a couple of things here that you might be able to do, and it depends on the grip. So it depends on like if you're in the gym, what equipment you've got access to. So some actually have the bars where there's actually the hand grips beside. Some you'd need to put the cable handles over the bar if you were doing a neutral grip. Others, or you could do it underarm, overarm, basically. So depends on your grip. This grip, so the bars in front of me, that's going to be the one that even doing that, I can immediately feel my lats because like I've spent so many years training my brain on exactly what muscles to feel. So if I do that and tense my lats, they are immediately engaged. But there is a bit of a sit back that I'm doing. Can you see like my shoulders drop and I'm pulling at that muscle right now as we speak with thin air, but if I held that for long enough, it like it's working it already. So you want to be doing that. Make sure that you contract your scapula, which is basically drawing your shoulder blades back along your back. You won't see mine because I'm covered by a layer of fat at the minute. Welcome to day one of the cut. But that's what you want to be doing is dropping your shoulders. So creating as much space between your ears and your shoulders as you can. So you're engaging those lats immediately and drawing your shoulder blades back like inwards across your back. So that movement shouldn't be starting from a relaxed movement. You should immediately be engaging. And there is a slight setback. So you should, like, you're not under the bar, you're slightly coming behind it as the bar's coming down. You're moving ever so slightly backwards. But a video, I will be able to see it a mile off, Gem. So, and this goes for everyone. Like, if you ever feel like, I don't think I'm feeling this exercise or doing something right, just get someone to record you. Prop your phone up on a water bottle. I know it's going to be tricky depending on the time that you train. If you train from home, there's no real excuses. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no embarrassment. You can just send in a video, because I can see so clearly what's happening, and there might be slight cues that you just might not realize you're doing that I can. Like, we've got a client, Sophia, really quiet, you'll never ever hear from her in the group, but she probably sends me, I don't know, 4 or 5 form videos a week just to triple check everything that she's doing. Anytime she gets a new exercise or something slightly different, she will be sending that to me, and she'll be sending it every week to go, is this better? Is that better? Have I done this right? Have I done that right? Because she really wants to learn. And I don't think many people take advantage of that in the program. So please do. It's there for you guys to use. Put it in the group chat, put it in your own chat, send it to me direct. Honestly, doesn't matter, but just send away, because I can see everything. As if I'm right there next to you. But yeah, that one, I think. The other thing is, so a lot of people use grips as well. I've never got on with that technique. So they actually, have you got the grips that go over? I don't think you have. I think you've got the wraparounds, Gem, but I can't remember. But people actually wrap on to the bar. I don't know how they're getting their second hand on to do that. I can do that all day long with barbells and dumbbells, but I don't know how they're then fixing onto the bar tightly enough. Gloves should do it, to be fair. So I wouldn't imagine it's your grip that's going, because the gloves they'll give you an extra bit of grip. But the other thing is overhand thumb. So if you're doing a pronated grip, which is this way, so not this way, your thumb should stay over the bar. So you don't wrap it like a handlebar. And this is quite a new thing, but there are studies showing this. But you will get a better mind muscle connection if you keep the thumb over the top of the bar. So I might not actually be doing that in the video. And again, that's a slightly more advanced thing that's coming through now, but you can definitely try it over just to give you even more oomph. It's very marginal, but I do find it makes a tiny bit of difference. I know it sounds stupid, but I think I'm scared to take form videos in case I'm way off. That's the fucking point there, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like me paying. I'm trying to think of a scenario where it would work with this, but like me paying for a service and going, but I don't dare use it. I don't dare, like, imagine paying a gym membership and then going, I'm not using that. I'm just going to sit and watch it come out of my bank account every month. Like, come on. Do you know what I mean? I can understand the fear of taking the video if you're in a gym going, oh, there's people watching me. They're going to think I'm an influencer. Or do you know what I mean? No one actually really gives a fuck. As long as you're mindful, you're not getting other people in the videos, you're like, courteous about how you go about it. Do you know what I mean? And you're clearly, and even if someone sent you and just say, I'm just sending a form video to my coach, no one would care, honestly. But if you're just worried that, like, I am the least judgmental person ever, ever. And I show so many of my form videos from when I started lifting on my Instagram for that very reason, because I don't want anyone to feel judged in the gym ever. We all start at the bottom. And for any of you that have seen those form videos of mine, you wouldn't even have to scroll back that long. I know we posted some a couple of weeks ago. I was as bad as they come. Like, literally, I don't think there has ever been a worse form lifter than me when I started out. But I took so much time and care and attention and sent my coach, because I started with a PT who was fucking shit and just wasted all my money, then got an online coach I'm still with to this day. And we're probably talking like 5, 6 years now. But I sent her loads of stuff to review, because that It's part of the value, but nobody's ever going to judge. And like I say, if you're worried, just send it to me privately or send it to Kat privately, either of us. If you're worried that, like, oh, I don't want to send it in the group chat for everyone to judge me, but that's not, nobody here is judging one another. And I'm pretty sure I could speak on everybody's behalf here. Nobody is going to be judging any of each of you for doing anything. Like, that is not the whole point of this is education, learning, development, growth. Do you know what I mean? It's like doing something at work, having a question and being like, I can't ask my manager because they're just going to judge me. And if they do that, that's just a bad manager. Do you know what I mean? Because they should be somebody that you can go to with your questions. That's the point of a mentor, a coach. Our point is to serve you. Do you know what I mean? And literally, bleed me fucking dry. That is what I want because I want you guys to know every single inch of what I know inside of my brain. And I want you to take full advantage of everything, not just the parts that you feel like you can. Do you know what I mean? Like, and again, we get it all the time with some of the new women. Oh, I don't know if I can ask this question. I'm like, ask the fucking question. Do you know what I mean? Or, oh, this might sound silly. No, no, it's not silly. Do you know what I mean? There's no such thing as a stupid question. So, just as a good reminder, like, just use everything. Take full advantage of us as your coaches because that's what you're here for, guys. And that's what I encourage you to do. So, does anybody on that have any other questions? It can be about this topic, it can be about anything in the program. This is your one-to-one time once a week. You get access to me where you don't have to wait until your Friday check-in. You don't have to ask in the group or ask it direct. You can get visual, verbal diarrhea from my mouth direct. Does anybody have anything before we all part ways and absolutely crush the rest of the fucking week? Looks like Hannah's typing, but that could be to someone else. Multitasking at its finest. Right. I think we'll call it there, ladies. So anyone so Kat and I are actually meeting tomorrow, not today. So we'll be going through each and every single one of you inside of the program. We will be in touch with anybody on Wednesday that we think needs a little bit of steer. All of the new women, this is where we also go through your logs, go through what you've done so far, and we will directly feedback anything that we think you could improve on. Or if you're ticking all the boxes and we're very happy, we'll let you know either way. But yeah, so look out for us on Wednesday. We will be going through that tomorrow. And then I will see you guys on check-ins on Friday. So let's fucking smash the week. Summer's coming. We want to absolutely crush this as hard as we can until then. So peace out, ladies. Mwah. Have a lovely night. Bye.